Hey, thanks everyone. Thanks for being here. First and foremost, clearly I'm not Ben. I am Alex, and so I get to pretend to be Ben today. He had a last minute thing come up and couldn't make it, so unfortunately you're stuck with me. Fortunately, it's only like 15 minutes, and so hopefully it'll be okay. First off and foremost, like who here has heard of LaunchDarkly? Anybody a customer in the room? We got one. All right, I like it. So, for those of you who don't know, we are a feature management platform. And so up here, there's a bunch of boxes with lots and lots and lots of text. The net of it is that our goal is to decouple your release from your deployment, right? So you can deploy all day long, you never have to release. When you're ready to release, you can, and you can do that release safely. You can do different iterations, you can compare, you can contrast, you can hook up to different models, blah, 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 blah. That's all the sales junk. So it's cool. If you want to check it out, go check it out. What we're really going to focus on today is that at LaunchDarkly, just like you guys, we are developers. We love developers. We have a very developer-first mentality for how we approach what we bring to market. So that means if you want to work inside of a GUI, we've got one of those you can work in. If you want to work inside of an API, we've got one of those too. If you would rather work inside the CLI, perfectly fine, right? We're not going to stop you. If you'd rather work in Terraform, we've got modules to do it, right? And if you would rather work inside of a pop-up in your own application, we can support you in that front too. And today we'll talk about doing it inside of LLMs with MCP, things like that. The whole point here is that the way we develop is API first, and so we can meet our customers where they're at. We can integrate where they want to integrate. We can work with them in that native interface. And MCP is just another way we can accomplish that feat. So let's just look at what that looks like. If LaunchDarkly, we're this feature flag platform, and so we're going to focus on October baseball, right? Our favorite thing as being Mariners fans in Seattle. Unfortunately, we just barely missed. Long-time diehard fan, it kills me that that's how the outcome came. So we were hoping we could do it maybe a little bit different, but unfortunately we can't. So we've got an application here, right? We've got a few different users who have logged into the application, and they are looking at different baseball team merch. So we're going to go ahead and fire that application up. And what we want to do is be able to personalize the release, right? We know that maybe we can pick someone on here. Let's say Bob, because the Blue Jays are terrible, right? We don't want to support the Blue Jays. So let's say we don't want. We know Bob isn't actually a Blue Jays fan. Bob actually is, in fact, he's a Mariners fan. And so let's fix that. Let's make sure that Bob is actually going to be looking at Mariners merch, not getting fed merch from the Blue Jays, right? Maybe that's not a great thing to be doing right now. So let's flip him. So we're going to tell Cursor here to go ahead and change it up so that instead of being targeted for Blue Jays gear, Bob should be targeted for Mariners gear. So we're going to go ahead and run these. And if the demo gods are being favorable to us, we will be able to see that change live. All right, I can see that Bob has the environment. He wants to target with Mariners variation to that. So we're going to go ahead and approve and go. We sent our JSON over, and we can now see that Bob is getting Mariners gear. And so we can do that live by changing that flag, target that person to have that instead. Next up, we could say, okay, cool. Well, maybe we want to make sure that we can add a new flag. Maybe we want to add, maybe we want to add different discount values to our overall store. So let's create a new flag for that. I hate that it's going back to the definition. So we'll tell our MCP here that we've toggled on, we've built into here, that we want to create a new flash sale option. We'll say 25% off, 33% off, and 75% off, and we'll set at default to 0. So let's go ahead and ask it to go and create a flag for us. So it's going to go out, it's going to go pull LaunchDarkly. It's going to see that we, in fact, don't have that flag yet today. It's going to make a call to the API and go ahead and create that new variation for us. It's going to have 3 different choices, default to 0, So I'll go ahead and generate that flag. So nothing's going to really change for us yet. We'll keep it on. We'll keep it exactly where it is, so we can see that now we finished it. We went ahead and created that flag, has that default value of 0. Nothing in our app has changed. We can see that sales still says 0. So let's go ahead and use it, right? Let's go ahead and turn that flag on. So if I take our next little prompt here, I can say, okay, well, I want to update the code. I want it to actually leverage that specifically and update the flags accordingly. So let's go ahead and ask it to update our code for us. So it'll go and do our thing. Over here in index.ts, we should see our node application eventually change here in our loop here at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and pull that up, make sure we see that go. So there's our changes, and so we can see it made that flash sale option. So we got that, went ahead and put it in there for us, and now we can implement that flag via cursor. So now we get to have some fun. Like we know those Mariners fans are bummed. We're all upset. I know I was for quite some time. So let's go ahead and fix it. Let's try to make it better. Let's say anybody who's a Mariners fan is now going to get a discount of, we almost got there. So we're going to say 75%. We're going to make these people happy. So let's go ahead and modify the flag. So MCP should say, okay, cool. I see there's that new flag. Our sale value is set to 0. So let's go ahead and change that and target just those Mariners fans to get that discount. Oh, we didn't do it quite right. Let's see if we can fix it. There we go. All right, it says it implemented it, went ahead and evaluated it. It says that Bob should be seeing it, but we're not seeing it yet. Oh, I know what it is. We need to rebuild our application, right? We need to pull our new values in. So now if we go ahead and restart, we have our discount for all of our Mariners fans at 75% off. So the point here is that as we move through all of this, we're basically able to interact with the LaunchDarkly MCP server to make real-time changes to our applications, make real-time changes to our flags, and be able to really kind of personalize that experience, make those live updates. We don't have to go into a core thing. We can work inside of our existing workflows. We can discover where we have flags instantiated. We can go and figure out how we can then leverage those flags, modify those flags, basically do those releases. So the nice thing here is that when we designed this, we tried to build an MCP that's very practical for our user base, right? A lot of our folks are using us for this guarded release, doing these rollouts, doing these things. And so the intent was that, okay, well, let's make this work in their everyday life inside of the workflow they now are moving to. Let's move into that world of MCP, that world of LLMs. And so through that, we're able to interact with those, make those changes live, kind of have that experience for them. More of this stuff is just kind of like more prompts therein, more things to go ahead and fix or clean up. So I won't bother kind of reiterating those points. But the point here is that we're able to roll these things out. We can ask questions about it. So maybe this one's relevant. We can say, okay, cool, we've done all these things. Tell me about all the different stuff that we've now done. Iterate through there, let me know about that. So I can then go analyze the promotions, go figure out what flags we've used, give us that detail. So pretty flexible, pretty useful, I think, in the modern day life for how developers are going to be interacting with these things. On our overall roadmap, let's see here. Let's just flip to this slide. We're basically looking at how can we do more with remote servers, how can we expand support through the product. Today it's very flag focused. That's the kind of the core use case, right? And so what else can we add? How do we cogently add things around experimentation, things around AI features? We have some different ways to do prompting inside of the tool suite to be able to change those, modify models on the back end. How do we bring those types of things in? And then how do we do more in the ecosystem? One thing that I want to point out is today we aren't in ToolHive, yet we are here talking about StackBlock stuff, right? So it's an area where we're going to be focusing on how do we meet the ecosystem as well? How do we generate content and integrations into those different registries, those different areas, so that folks who are leveraging our toolset can do this in a way that makes sense to them. And ultimately, our goal is to kind of retain flexibility across that front, be able to easily meet folks where they want to go, obviously take feedback from people and be able to keep iterating. Again, we're developers ourselves. We're very API first. We're very open spec. In our case, we actually chose, since we are open API for our spec of how we build it, we found a couple cool ways to be able to actually generate MCPs off of our API specifications and went down those paths to generate it quickly. So just lots of cool options, lots of fun ways to do it. Basically, the point here is that we're not really all that different than you, right? We're doing very, very similar things in how we iterate and how we generate our own application. Last thing I have here is, we are obviously hiring. We're growing like mad. Specifically, we're looking for engineers who want to work on MCP. That's this DevX role here on the left-hand side. If that's not your jam, we're also looking for plenty of other developers. So I had to put that plug out there. If you're looking, we're looking too, and maybe we can figure something out. So that's what I got today, right? Short and sweet and to the point. If you want to talk more, we'll be out in the hallway, and thanks for your time.